tonight. The investigation into Stephen Smith's death is making progress, according to SLED. The agency has been investigating this case since June 2021. Today, our Tara Jabor went back through the Highway Patrol's documents from Smith's death. Tara, you spoke to the Smith family attorney today and reviewed those documents. What did you learn?
Katie, yeah, we went through hundreds of pages of the case notes from Stephen Smith's investigation by Mate. We also listened to audio files of interviews from Highway Patrol. And Mate was trying to find out what happened to Stephen when he was found dead on July 8th, 2015.
When I got up to the scene, I noticed a young white male lying in the roadway with severe head trauma. Nothing at the scene appeared that it was a vehicular accident.
That's D.B. Rao with South Carolina Highway Patrol in 2015, talking about the victim, Stephen Smith.
He had no abrasions, no torn clothes. His shoes were still on his feet, cell phone still in his pocket. Like I said, the only injuries that I noticed to this young man was to his head.
Smith was found with his cell phone and car keys in his pocket. That cell phone, Attorney Richter says, is unlocked and in the hands of SLED.
Yeah, I think Stephen's cell phone is a really big deal in the case. First, because it was still on his person, and to think that he walked 3 miles at 4 a.m. or thereabouts on a dark country road with his cell phone the entire time, and apparently never made an effort to call his sister who was nearby or to text a friend for help. I think that's a very fascinating fact.
Stephen's yellow car was found 3 miles from his body on Bamberg Highway. The doors were locked, his gas tank was open, and his wallet was inside. Attorney Richter says that's suspicious.
Can we really accept that his car having broken down with a cell phone in his back pocket, he walked 3 miles down a black, dark country road and never called for help? And if he was going to get some gas, he left his wallet behind.
Mate interviewed dozens of people as they investigated Stephen's death in 2015.
What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong, and I feel like, especially the family, I mean, they deserve the truth.
At the time, they interviewed Mark Burkhart, a man who says he was dating Stephen at the time of his death. He says he spoke to Smith the morning he was found in the middle of the road and that the last time they spoke was around 3:30 a.m.
I asked him on one of the calls, "Are you walking?" Because he already told me he was out of gas. He was running out of gas. One of the calls before, and I says, "Are you walking?" Because I hear cars going by, and his answer to me was no. And then the call dropped. I couldn't come get him, and that was what I was saying.
Why couldn't you come get him?
I didn't have enough gas, and he didn't want me to come with the gas that was in the car.
And I asked Richter about the exhumation and autopsy plan for Stephen Smith. The family has raised over $100,000 from a GoFundMe. He says they will petition the Hampton County coroner for a permit to allow it. Then they will hire a nationally known expert to do a new autopsy.
Making changes while keeping the character of Charleston. That's the goal of Lowe Enterprises. The developer presented another version of its proposal for the Union Pier project to the city's planning commission and the public tonight. Kennedy Buck joins us live now. And Kennedy, what did they talk about?
Tessa, the main point presenters wanted to get across to the Planning Commission is they have been listening to the city and the public. But one woman I spoke with has been attending every public meeting of the pier since the beginning. She says not much has changed to ease her concerns. Throughout the presentation of the Union Pier redevelopment plan, there was one issue many people asked about.
Is this up to our standards? A 40-acre industrial site separating the historic downtown from the harbor? Or should it be something better?
The proposed mixed-use development plans to hold on to the Lowcountry's history while adding parks, retail space, and affordable housing. Presenters say they consider the concerns from city leaders and the public by adding changes to their design.
We listened when city leaders and residents, conservationists, and historians said they wanted less density, more green space, and better focus on historic landmarks.
But not everyone was satisfied.
I've gone to every meeting that Lowe has, every public meeting that has happened since the beginning of this process, and I haven't seen a dramatic change in the plans. You know, there's so many I actually tallied during this presentation today how many times people from the port or Lowe or Perkins and Will said the word that they're listening to us, and I haven't seen dramatic changes.
Tori Sanders is a new resident to the Low Country. She describes falling in love with its history and beauty. That's why she wants to see it protected.
The buildings at Union Pier are surrounded only by more tall buildings, whereas the buildings we currently have downtown are, surrounded by 2, maybe 3-story buildings. So the height is just dramatically different at Union Pier.
Besides the height of the proposed buildings, Sanders says she's also concerned with the amount of green space and affordable housing. She hopes these issues are looked at for the future.
We're about to embark on one of the largest developments in Charleston that's on the water. And, we have an opportunity for this to help mitigate climate change, like the effects of climate change, and yet we're just pouring more concrete in. I think it's only going to lead to more problems.
The Planning Commission has also requested a future presentation regarding the affordable housing element of the pier, but no date has been set.
To have a new leader by May 1st, and today we learned about the district's timeline for the hiring process. News 4's Sadasia Smalls reports on how leaders hope to get this accomplished in just a matter of weeks.
39 days and counting, the Charleston County School District has announced its timeline in the search of a new superintendent.
We tailor our process to your needs, what you need as a district. We will meet with each board member. We will get your information. We will then meet with community members across this district.
BWP and Associates is the search firm secured by CCSD. Leaders say the timeline consists of a 4-step process, starting with what they call specifications.
We interview you, interview groups, establish a profile, and we have open forums.
Number 2 on their list is recruitment.
Once we get that profile, is to go out and get those candidates for you. They will apply to our website. We will have all of the information, and we will have all of their references, and we go beyond their references.
The third is assessment, where BWP and the school board select candidates who meet their criteria.
We give it to the board members for informal and formal interviews. We provide questions for you. We want to make sure that your questions are within legal clarifications.
And finally, the selection, when associates assist the board with interviews from chosen candidates.
Remember that candidates are interviewing you as a board, just like you are interviewing them as a superintendent candidate.
There will be a community engagement session April 18th through the 20th, with the final announcement of the selected candidate coming on May 15th.